Technical difficulties.
MVP.
Rent do every day. It's always been that way for me. Always been a get better mentality every day, grow every day, be a better leader every day, be a better quarterback every day. And when that rent's due, I don't plan on missing no payments. So.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to 3 in the Keystone. Chris, we made it. Episode 100.
Keeping it 100 for the people.
Just how it started, episode 1. Me and you here right now. We expect Al Ryan to be coming on shortly. He was on bath duty tonight, which was a little bit delayed. So we will wait for him. But, Chris, I just wanted to tip my cap to you. 100 weeks of podcasting. Nothing to belittle by any means. It's a big accomplishment for us. So I don't want to take it too lightly. Congratulations to us, I think, for getting here. I don't think when it started, we were in this basement, we thought it was getting this far.
Well, speak for yourself. I assumed that we were going to win it any by now, to be honest with you. No, but yeah, absolutely. Shout out to you as well. I mean, it's a commitment for anybody to go this far at this point in the podcast game. And so, I think we should be proud of that. And also shout out to our significant others, our wives as well, who are there to behind the scenes supporting us and pushing us to do this. And let's be honest, allow us to do this at this point, especially with the children involved now.
Yeah, so I'll drop a spoiler. It was originally in our plans to have the wives on the podcast for a segment tonight, but we weren't able to pull that through due to some employment circumstances, I would say, at this point. But I do want to at least jump into tonight's episode. And Chris, before we get into it, I have something off topic that we haven't discussed that I want to get your opinion on and get your vibe, because I know you're a little bit of an Eagles apologist too.
No, that's says.
But I want to know. So there's been these videos posted. I wish I knew who was posting them, but it's a legitimate media site, and they're doing these games. I don't know if you've seen this. With Eagles players, employees. So the first one they did was Nick Sirianni and Howie Roseman, and they put them across from each other and they give them a topic. So let's say the topic is like, I think one was, it was like NFL stadiums. And
this
then
this is like the guys are really doing.
This is a real thing.
Okay.
And so they say like NFL stadiums, and then Nick Sirianni says, I can name 7. And then Howie Roseman,
okay.
Howie Roseman either says I can name more than that, or he says, go ahead and do it. So I think it was the second episode today. I don't know if I'm missing any, but today was Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis were on there.
Okay.
So the one topic goes dog breeds, and Jalen Carter says he can name 8. So they do the thing. I don't remember if he got 8 or he didn't get 8. So the next topic after that was Eagles teammates. It wasn't SEC teammates. It wasn't 10-year veteran teammates. It was Eagles teammates. And they go to Jalen Carter, and they're like, how many can you name in 30 seconds? He said 5.
And did he name the 5?
No, it ended up going, Jordan Davis said he could name more, and then Jalen Carter was like, well, then do it. And he named like 8 in like 30 seconds. Jalen Carter said he could name 5.
So maybe I'll give them benefit of the doubt. Maybe Jalen Carter was setting up Jordan Davis to be able to show off that he knows way more than 5, and he set a low bar. That's what I'm going to go with. But if not, that's an L. That's a big issue that you couldn't name more than 5. I can't imagine that. I can't imagine that would be the case. And that had to be a setup.
Here's what gave me even a little bit more of a red flag. So after Jordan Davis said he could name 8, Jalen Carter goes, yeah, but we're going to make it harder. You can't name any of the Georgia boys. So maybe like them Georgia boys are just like they don't mess with
Clicky.
anybody else.
They're clicky. Well, and that's I mentioned that one of the shows during last season how a lot of those guys are used to winning and winning big in their collegiate careers, and they haven't really had a lot of adversity that they faced on the football field. And I wonder how last year affected them. And that would tell me that there might be smoke to that. Because if those guys aren't intermingling a lot around other people, aside from their collegiate teammates who they're used to dominating with, and now they're not dominating, that's a little bit of a I agree with you, man. That might be a little bit of a flag there, a red flag. But
Yeah,
but again, it's they're still kids, man. They're young and dumb. I mean,
100%. But I'll send you the link when we're done, so you can take a listen to it.
I actually like that game for a segment for our show.
I actually thought about that too.
It's not an original game. I mean, it's from back in the day. I forget what show.
The Schwab used to do it.
Yeah, but even before that, it was one of those old shows that did it, and I can't remember which one. It escapes me right now. But that's a fun concept.
Yeah, we'll workshop it and try and figure something out.
Yeah.
But let's get into what we wanted to talk about tonight for segment one, the Philadelphia Phillies again. They finished last week 3-3. They lose 2 or 3 to the Giants before taking 2 out of 3 back from the Cardinals. They also get a W tonight over the Milwaukee Brewers. There's been some injuries that I do want to talk about, but there was a return tonight of Rhys Hoskins, and we got into a little bit of a text debate today on the reception he would get and what should be expected for a player of Rhys Hoskins' stature. And I think you and I disagree based on the text messages. So I want to throw it to you to start with what you would have done with a Rhys Hoskins return tonight.
So I want to start by saying, first of all, I want to start by saying shout out to MLB for getting games now that are finishing before we even get on here. That's fantastic. So whatever you got going on, whether it's the pitch count or the pitch clock or whatever that, like, put it to 10 seconds next year. I don't care. I mean, it doesn't bother me. Like,
I don't care.
Keep it coming. I don't care. Keep it coming. If we can get 2+ hour baseball games, that's great. But I like Rhys Hoskins as a person. He seems like a nice guy. He seems like a genuine person. Seems to have been someone that loved the city. And he gave back to the community and did different charitable works and things like that while he was here. And he's been decent. All right. I'm not going to sit here and say he's a scrub. However, this whole thing, like, another shout out goes to the people who constructed Citizens Bank Park, because they must have put some kind of special mojo in that place that made the Phillies fans all of a sudden extremely soft. Because we know back in our day at the Vet, okay, if Travis Lee had left somewhere from us and came back, all right, we wouldn't have been doing this. And I'm not saying that Travis Lee is in the same scope of a Philly as Rhys Hoskins. I'm just using it. He first got it came in my head as an example. But you got the Trey Turner thing. Now you got this thing. It's like, come on. Does he deserve to get booed? Absolutely not. I would not boo the guy. But how quickly we forget, Seltzer, you put in that chat about when he hit the home run against the Braves and slammed the bat, and that was an awesome moment. But how quickly we forget how bad he was before that. And the reason why he showed that emotion is because he couldn't buy a hit for a while before that. All right? Let's not forget how he went 3 for 21 in that World Series. Let's not forget how he dropped the ball at first base that cost us a game. Let's not forget how he bat 240 as a ceiling basically for his career as a Philly. Like, come on. Like, it's the guy is not standing O worthy. It's like when we talk about the Hall of Fame and it's become the Hall of Very Good. This guy like I said, seems to be a great dude. But as a player coming back, he does not warrant the standing O, the tribute video. I mean, the guy got a Derek Jeter welcome back. He got like 20 seconds at the plate to tip his cap and to soak it in. Like, what are we talking about here? For a guy to hit lifetime 240, never won a ring, never won an MVP.
All right, let me counter here. There are 3 main points that I want to make in regards to why Rhys Hoskins did deserve a standing ovation. First of all, he was better than you were giving him credit for. I know you said he's not Travis Lee, but to even bring up Travis Lee,
he was the first guy I thought of as a first baseman. Honestly, you're right. I'm not trying to compare the two of them.
Pulling up Hoskins' stats, he essentially played 4 full seasons for the Phillies. His rookie year, he only played 50 games. We'll wipe that out, and then he had the COVID season, which doesn't really count either.
So what are we talking about?
But listen. In all of those seasons, he had 25 plus homers. In all of those seasons, he had at least 29 doubles. We can call it 30 doubles. He had an 800 plus OPS in almost all those seasons. The last season was 794. So he was a very good player. Again, he left a lot to be desired defensively. He left a lot to be desired with the batting average, but he was a very, very solid player. Secondly, the moment that he had, you look at this group that we have now that we all love and has become one of the most popular groups in our lifetime in regards to the way they play the game and the way they embrace with the fans. If you remember going into that playoff, we did a podcast where we talked about how much of a losers these guys were.
Yeah.
They backed into the playoffs.
Yeah.
They squeak by St. Louis because their closer implodes, and we go up to face this juggernaut Braves team that, to be fair, none of us had any faith that we were going to beat. They steal game 1 when Castellanos gets 4 hits and makes a diving catch. Then they lose game 2, and then it's that Hoskins homer off Strider that made everyone believe that we were going to win that series. That was the moment that everyone started to believe in this team, and he spikes the bat. And to me, that homer is right up there with a Matt Stairs type moment in Phillies playoff history. So to me, like, that moment itself almost warrants a standing ovation. And the fact of the matter is, Chris, I'm not asking Rhys Hoskins to get put on the Wall of Fame or the Phillies to retire his number. Like, that's over the top. He doesn't deserve that. But all I'm asking you to do is stand up out of your chair and clap for the guy. That's all we're looking for.
Yeah, man. But you know what? Like any other job, like that type of respect warrants that type of output. And we're not talking about, like I said earlier, a guy that won a World Series. That moment that he had in 2022 was a great moment. However, like I said, he was not good before that. Right. He wasn't great after that.
No, that's not true. He hit 4 homers against the Padres in the NLCS.
I'm talking about in the World Series.
World Series, yeah, but a lot of guys weren't good in the World Series. But you're right, he was bad in the World Series.
And so Matt Stairs' example, that led to the culmination of a World Series title.
Correct.
Right? They definitely rode that wave of that home run into a title. Also, Matt Stairs' role on this team was a bench off the bat to do just that. And that's what he did. He delivered exactly what he was brought in here to do. All right. So there's a difference there. Did the Phillies lose a step from losing Rhys Hoskins?
No.
Did they get better from losing Rhys Hoskins?
Well, let me ask you this. Would this team be better with Hoskins at first and Harper and right and Castellanos not here?
He's barely better than Castellanos stat-wise. He's barely good at stats.
200.
Castellanos' average is significantly lower, but home runs and RBI output is not much different.
Yeah, well, Castellanos he in a better lineup.
And Rhys did hit one tonight, which was good for him. How about that throw by Rojas?
Yeah,
that was a dot. That was a dot. But I mean, come on, and I don't want to sound like I'm bashing the guy, but I'm just saying we have as Phillies fans developed this like forgetfulness, I think sometimes or this, I hate using that word soft because that's such a damning word in sports. And I hate to use that. But things like this and things like the Trey thing last year, like they're not happening yesteryear. They're not happening when our dads were taking us to games or our moms taking us to games. Like, and that wasn't even that long ago. We're not old people. So like that transition has gone so quickly. And a part of it could be a generational thing. Part of it could be like literally, seriously, the stadium thing. I mean, you have more fun at that place than you get at the vet. So maybe you have more of an upbeat mood. I don't know. But I just don't believe that Rhys Hoskins, and he wasn't even and you just said it, he wasn't even here that long.
Yeah,
As
I mean,
far as on the major league team.
It was 6 seasons. It was just 2 were abbreviated.
And nothing happened out of it.
But I think there's one point that we also we haven't brought up yet that I think is important, and that is, and it goes to what you're saying in regards to maybe the fan base is quote unquote softer, is there's a sympathy towards the way it ended for Rhys Hoskins.
That's
so
true.
Obviously in spring training last year, he blows his ACL, misses the entire season, a season that again goes to an NLCS, probably should have gone to a World Series. And then you have Bryce Harper, who comes back from this elbow injury and essentially just moves into his spot, at which point there's no room for Rhys Hoskins. So his departure was not because the Phillies didn't want him back. It wasn't that the fact he didn't want to come back. It's the hand was forced and there was no spot for him. And that was basically driven by his injury. And I think there's some softness and some sympathy towards the way it ended for him here based on that.
I think that was a perfect outcome for the front office to not have to make that tough decision, because honestly, I was on board with him going anyway, regardless of the injury. I was not on board with him keeping him and giving him a long-term extension and more money, because I just don't think he's the money he would have gotten. I don't even think the money that he got from Milwaukee. I have to look at it again, but
I think it was 2 years, $14 million a year, something like that.
I mean, that's, to me, I still think that's inflated for what he's going to end up giving them. And then somebody said on the broadcast tonight that, who was it? Rob Thompson, I think it was, said that he was like a leader along the lines of Derek Jeter.
Yeah. Well, Kruk was saying that. I don't know.
Bro,
now look, those guys in that dugout were applauding right along with them tonight.
No, yeah, and that's what I'm saying. He seems to be a great dude, great teammate, and a lot of these guys are. And I'm not trying to dismiss that. That's also important. But from a fan perspective, we're not in there with those guys to experience those moments. All we can do is see what the production on the field looks like. We would be the first ones, and we're the first ones to criticize the Sixers for trying to do that similar thing with Andre Iguodala, who earned nothing to be able to get that, except be the best player on bad teams. And I think this is very similar in the sense that, were the Phillies a bad team at the end with him? No. But at the same time, for the beginning of his career, he was probably the best player in bad teams. But that doesn't mean that it warrants this standing O and this whole tipping of the cap and the tears and all. I mean, now I will tell you what would have. If you remember last year when he was rehabbing and they were saying he might come back if they reached the World Series, right? If they had gotten a little bit further, he might be able to come back. Had he been able to come back and get a big hit like he did against Strider, against one of the Diamondbacks or against someone in the World Series, and it led to a title, that would change the whole scope. Then absolutely he deserves a standing ovation. He deserves the love fest. He deserves all that because he fought back, came back from an ACL the same season, and contributed to something that won a title. However, that didn't happen. So for me, that's where I stand on it. I think that it was significantly overdone. The guy deserved a nice applause, didn't deserve an ovation, definitely didn't deserve a boo. But the standing O and the whole thing was a lot for me.
Can we also talk about another classic Rhys Hoskins moment when the Mets threw at him and then he hit the homer and basically walked around the bases, took him.
That was great too. Like I said, he's had time. He's had things. Also, this got my blood boiling because now speaking about the fans at the games, at the Phillies games, we had a debate before about how it was when Utley came back and did his thing and was actually literally beating the Phillies in that series that he played with the Dodgers during the regular season a couple years before he retired. I'm watching Rhys Hoskins tonight hit a home run and seeing guys in Phillies jerseys behind the dugout giving us in a 3-1 game.
I'm with you there.
A team that is going to be in the hunt with you for a pennant, cheering for the other team because of who that was. That's, again, another example. It's nuts.
I agree with you there. I'm with you at that point. Once the game gets going, the game is on.
Right.
So I have no issue with what you said there. Shout out to Chris Style in the chat. Congratulations on 100 episodes, bros. Thank you, Chris, and thank you for being a part of a couple of them. And here he comes, fresh from the bathroom.
Philly is soft. Philly got soft. Philly got soft, guest. Yep. You know what? I honestly think it's not necessarily Philly. Phillies fans have gotten soft.
That's what I was just talking about.
Is it? Okay. Yeah, for me, it's Phillies fans more than any other because I don't think you'd see Eagles fans doing this. You damn sure would. Flyers fans, forget it. No way.
No. And I was just talking about with Seltzer. I was like, when Iguodala got that welcome back and we all clowned it, right? Yeah. And when the Sixers tried to do that, they tried to do the Titantron video and all that, and everybody was like, what? That's like perfect example. The Sixers fans were like, we're not having that, but this dude gets out there and played even less than Iguodala did as far as years is concerned, and did the same amount as far as Iguodala did as far as acclamations are concerned, and he got what he got.
And won nothing. We won nothing.
That's what I'm saying. Exactly.
But and now I don't want to dive into what we talked about for the first 20 minutes. But to me, the difference is when Iguodala left, the city was ready for him to go. Rhys Hoskins got caught between a rock and a hard place of the fans still liked Rhys Hoskins. The team had no room for Rhys Hoskins. There was nowhere to go.
Well, here's the face turn, Seltzer, because guess what? I'm a big softy. I'm on board, guest. I'm on board with the standing O. I'm soft.
Let me give you his stats in that World Series. 3 for 21, 9 strikeouts. He had a key error, and he had in game 5, he had a golden sombrero. Struck out 3 times.
Guess what? If he doesn't hit the home run stride, he might not even get to the World Series.
Thank you for all you've done for us. Thank you. Come on, bro. Stop.
All right. So Rhys comes back. He does homer tonight, but the Phillies get the win. Just want to touch on a quick couple other Phillies topics before we move on to segment 2 tonight. A couple of injuries this week of note. Ranger Suarez gets banged around, gets a line drive in the back of his hand. Brandon Marsh looked like a pretty significant hamstring injury. They're calling it just a mild hamstring strain. Which injury are you more worried about of the two?
That's easy. It's Suarez. Ranger's the bigger injury. I mean, what did David Dealey do for us tonight? The former Giant offensive lineman? What did we just talked about him last week? What did he do?
Is this WIP now? We're going to say these guys' names, like butcher all the names. Yeah, Castellanos.
David
Dahl. Jeffries.
David Dahl. Am I correct? Is that how you say it? I mean, he hit a home run.
The journeyman.
Right. Listen, people forget David Dahl's a Major League All-Star.
Yeah, but the last couple of years he's been terrible.
Is he related to Omar?
Or Road Dahl?
No, but listen, I mean, if Rangers' injury is what they're saying is just a bruised hand, maybe he misses a start. The team, the problem with this team, the issue right now is currently the outfield. They're getting Rojas is fine defensively. You're not getting much offensive output. You're obviously not getting any offensive output out of right field. And now if you lose Marsh, the offensive production in left field is questionable as well.
And I'll tell you who else you're not getting any production from anywhere you put him in is that nitwit Merrifield. You ain't getting nothing from that dude. And I'm telling you, Dahl might be a little bit of he might be the guy we didn't know we needed. You never know.
I think Dahl will be okay for a certain period of time, but he got Jake Cave vibes.
He's already better than Jake Cave. He got a home run. Cave couldn't even hit one.
Cave's such a bomb, dude.
To be fair,
he's
David
so
Dahl,
bad.
David Dahl in AAA 340 with 12 homers so far.
Dude, he's been raking. He's a man among boys down there.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Where Jake Cave still can't hit, and when he comes up with Colorado, he's still doing trash.
They also put Clemens on the DL. I thought that there was a chance if he was still around that against right-handed pitching, you might see Schwarber out there once or twice. You know, you can still throw him out there for a game or two and let Clemens DH, but not with him hurt, I think. And who knows if they end up moving Sosa out there once Turner gets back.
Yeah, we can't have Schwarber in the outfield. He can't play defense again.
I know, but if you need him out there for 2 or 3 games, it's not going to kill you.
I don't even want to look at that. I don't even want to see him out there.
My last thing for you guys, the Phillies will be playing a London series this weekend. Does that do anything for you, the fact that they're going out over to London overseas to play?
Now, do you think Philly fans are going to deface one of like the big London tourist attractions? The way, like they're going to put,
The Big
people
Ben.
put stuff on the Rocky statue. Like, are they going to put something on like the Tower of London?
You know the video when the Eagles beat the Vikings in the NFC Championship and the kid's like, "Go Birds!" They need to do that to the guys outside of Buckingham Palace and see if they get any reaction.
They don't play that out there.
Yeah.
That's a whole different ball game out there, man. I actually think it's cool, but at the same time, Major League Baseball continuously, I mean, all sports, but continuously the New York ball riding. So Saturday on Fox is literally a New York fest. So you got the Phillies, Mets in London to start the day. Then you go to the Belmont Stakes, which is also in New York. Then you go Dodgers, Yankees Saturday night in Yankee Stadium. Now, the thing is, baseball's so stupid, okay? Because you have a game in London, England, that you put out there to try to expand your market internationally, and you don't even have it as your main game of the day. In fact, your A-team broadcast isn't even going to be in London; they're going to be in New York. I heard Tatanka is outside scalping tickets. That's an inside joke for people that don't know what that is.
What time is the game? What time is the game on Saturday?
I think it's like 10 o'clock or something a.m. I think.
Is it?
I think it's 10 a.m. I think it's 1. I think Sunday's 1 o'clock. I think I could be wrong with all that. I don't know. I might be
10 a.m.
It is 10 a.m. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's Saturday, Sunday they're playing?
Yeah. So we got June 8th, which I'm assuming is that Saturday. They play at 1:10 local time.
Right.
And June 9th is 10 a.m.
So I'm sorry. So it's the opposite. So Saturday is 1 o'clock and then Sunday is 10 o'clock.
Right.
Now they're not even playing in my Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. I don't believe. Are they playing in Tottenham?
Are they playing Wembley?
I don't know. I know it's not Tottenham because I would have definitely heard about it. I don't think it's Tottenham.
Let me see.
And that's the best stadium in London. In fact, it's one of the best stadiums in Europe.
They're playing at London Stadium.
Yeah, so I don't even know what London Stadium is. Is that Wembley's new name or is that a different stadium?
Or wait, maybe this says a London Stadium. It's just a London. You pick.
A London.
Guess do you think Kylian Mbappe will be there after leaving PSG?
I was going to say he'll be at Real Madrid next year. The UEFA champions. The rich get richer.
But all right, so listen, the Phillies will finish out a series with the Brewers the rest of this week, and then they will head to London to face the Mets this weekend. All right, gents, let's jump into segment 2. We have the NBA Finals are finally set. We have the Boston Celtics and the Dallas Mavericks. But more importantly, I have an update on our NBA playoff draft pool, if you guys are interested.
You guys are blowing me out. I know that.
Al, you're pulling up the rear. You have 24 wins for your teams.
Milwaukee and the Sixers. That's all I know.
We let the Bucks go to the end, and then you bit. I am in second with 27 wins, and Chris has actually clinched it already with 32 wins for Chris with Dallas, and Indiana was also a big pull for you.
You know what that gets you, Chris? That gets you a
straight cash, homie. Straight cash, homie. Straight cash, homie.
A standing ovation for Chris.
It's about time I won one of these games on this show.
Congratulations to Chris.
I will say also, I want to give myself credit for speaking into existence to Kyrie Irving going back to Boston TD Bank Arena for the finals and spraying. I'm sure he'll be spraying sage and all kind of stuff at that arena. But I can't wait for that drama to start. I'm here for all that.
Yeah. So it was a great pick by you. You were on the Mavericks over the Wolves. I thought the Wolves would take care of them pretty easily, but it was the Lucas show. They disposed of the Red Hot Timberwolves in 5 games, and they will square off with the 64-win Boston Celtics, who basically ran through the much maleaguered Eastern Conference with a record of 12-2 in the playoffs. Maleaguered, not maleaguered. My bad.
Maligned, beleaguered.
I got caught in between there, guys.
I was like maleaguered. Okay. By the way, you were maleaguered with that take as well of the bigs on Dallas getting ran out the building. That was an L. They actually ran the building.
Yes, I backed that up. I was wrong on that, no doubt. Couple of revenge things in play. Chris, you mentioned Kyrie going to Boston. Also, Porzingis coming back to Dallas.
Yeah.
But you say he's on track to play on play 1. My first question to you guys for the series is, we've seen this Boston Celtics team be at the precipice of winning a championship for a lot of years now. Is it time for them to break through? I know it sounds like a silly question, but quickly, here's since 2017, they lost the Eastern Conference Finals, lost the Eastern Conference Finals, lost in the second round, lost the Eastern Conference Finals, lost in the first round, lost the NBA Finals, lost the Eastern Conference Finals. This Jason Tatum-led group has gotten there many times. Is this team finally ready to break through? We'll start with you, Chris, since you've been on the ball with this NBA playoffs so far. What do you see?
Well, I think it's a huge thing to get Porzingis back when they're getting him back. I think that potentially could actually be the difference in this series, depending on which Porzingis shows up. But I will say, I mentioned this to you guys, I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago, maybe, when I said if the Celtics didn't get the ring this year, when is it time to break up the bands as far as Tatum and Jalen? And I mean, you just said it perfectly as far as their history of the last, 7 years of getting close and still not being able to get over the hump. And I think this is their best skilled team, I think, that they've had going into this spot, which is why, obviously why they're here and why they've been the best team in the NBA throughout the whole season. But yeah, it's time. And I hate to say that as a Boston hater, but if they don't win it this year, with Porzingis now playing, assuming he plays like he's played all year, I don't know what to tell you.
Al?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I hate to say this because we're a Philly-based pod, and I hate to rep anything Boston, but this has to be their year. They ran through the regular season and then the playoffs, albeit against teams that were not only not at their level to begin with, but then every single one of those teams ended up losing their star in that series, with the Miami Heat losing Jimmy Butler, with the Cleveland Cavaliers losing Donovan Mitchell, and then with the Indiana Pacers losing Tyrese Halliburton. So they had a little bit of a cakewalk to the end, but it reminds me a lot about UConn basketball's run in men's basketball these last couple of years, where, especially this past year, everybody was saying, oh, well, they're just running through all these teams that aren't very good, but they're still dominating them. Boston is dominating these teams. And when you look at that, the last whatever it's been since Jason Tatum's been in the league and he's been leading these Celtics to the playoffs since 2018, some of these teams they've lost to in the playoffs, man, they're losing to the eventual champions. They're losing to the LeBron Cavs. They're losing to the Giannis Bucks. They're losing to the Golden State Warriors. They're losing to the Brooklyn Nets when they had the big three. I mean, it's not like they were I don't want to say it, but it's not like they were losing to the Raptors and the Hawks. You know what I mean? Like they're losing to eventual champions. I think this is their year. I think Dallas has put up a hell of a run, and it's going to be an entertaining series, but I can't see this really going any other way than Boston winning this series.
Yeah, I think I'm on the same page as you guys in that respect. We've always talked about how it takes a lot of L's in the NBA before you're ready to chalk up that first W. You look at guys like Jordan, you look at guys like LeBron. It happened over time, and it just seems like Boston has paid those dues when you get a team like Dallas who really hasn't to this point. But then you look over there and you see a guy like Luka, and you're just like, this guy is just built different, right? Like maybe he hasn't done it at the NBA level, but he fought those wars in Europe for years. The dude is tested. He's been through it. So all my mind says, Boston has paid these dues and it's their time. But then in the back of my mind, it's still like Dallas still has the best player in the series. And they got a sidekick there who also at the end of the day, if it's a close game, like Luka, Kyrie, Jalen, Jason, I'm taking Luka and Kyrie if it's a close game, because those guys they have a little bit of a clutch gene that I need to see from that Boston side.
Yeah, I actually think that Kyrie and Luka, not just as a tandem, but even just individually as players, are two of the probably top 5 most clutch dudes in this league right now. And they're both on the same team. They're both in the finals together. And I think that's a great point. And I feel like, Kyrie, we're not talking enough about this. And I'm not just saying us, but I'm talking about in general, the media overall. Kyrie's got a huge chip on his shoulder in this series. This guy who's already been a champion, you would never know it because everybody, myself included, has called him a team cancer, a loser, this, that, and the third. And all he's done is go to Dallas and be a model teammate, an ideal teammate, a perfect guy who can play Batman sometimes, but also be comfortable playing Robin sometimes. And he's been great for them. And I feel like he's got a big chip on his shoulder that we're not really talking a lot about that might, I mean, he's already been clutch, but man, like I said, I can't wait for him to go into Boston and see how that plays out, because Luka already is fearless. We know that. Luka's talked trash to everybody under the sun this year, in their building, his building, in the crowd. He talked to Snoop the other day when they were playing in where was it, Minnesota, I think it was the other night. So those two together, man, just because I think that Boston has to come through this year doesn't mean I'm picking them.
Ooh.
It does not mean I'm picking them. I feel like this is very similar to how the same year, and you know, it feels like Giannis's year to me with Luka. It feels like he's the guy that's going to just be like, I'm not losing. I'm here. I've been a professional now since I was 14 years old. I've played the wars in the Euro, in the Adriatic League and the Euro League and all that kind of stuff. And now I'm winning an NBA title. You screwed me out of an MVP again. I'm taking your title.
The clip of him, and I don't know if it was to Snoop or not, but the fan at the end of Game 5 when they blew out Minnesota, when he goes, "Who's crying now, motherfucker?" to whatever fan that was.
Dude,
like, that shows like he's a dog.
Yeah, he's a dog. He's a pit bull. And you go ahead. I'm sorry.
I think the interesting thing matchup wise when you get into the X's and O's in this series is Dallas's two best offensive players are their guards. It's Luka, it's Kyrie. We've talked about that. Boston's two best defensive players are their guards. It's Drew Holiday and Derek White. On the other side, Boston's best two offensive players, Brown and Tatum, are forwards, and Dallas's best two defensive players in this series have been since the playoffs is Derek Jones Jr. and PJ Washington. So you're going to see a lot of cross matchups there of where you're going to see strength on strength from both sides. And it's really been this Dallas defense, which has been the best defense in the league, starting with the last 18 games of the regular season and it's translated into the playoffs. And we saw what they did to Anthony Edwards throughout that series. I mean, we had the conversation, I don't know if it was last week, about, Edwards, Luka, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and I think it was just the three of them.
An Ant.
Yeah, Ant, SGA, and Luka. And we agreed that Luka was a class above them, but that was just proven and then some, because Dallas ate up Edwards and the rest of that Minnesota team in that series.
And I think that it's a benefit for them that they played a team like Minnesota before Boston, because with Kristaps coming back for Boston, defensively the strategy is a little bit of a funky situation, having to guard Tatum, Jalen, and then now Porzingis. But they just guarded Cat in the series before that, and Porzingis is going to bring a very, very similar offensive skill set that Cat did against them in that series, and they still were able to prevail there. So were they playing a Jaylen Brown and a Jason Tatum with Porzingis in that previous series with Towns and Anthony Edwards? There wasn't really a third wheel there that was at that level as Boston's going to give them, but at the same time, still covering a big that can stretch the floor. They've done that already.
But my question to you in that is, I agree with you. Cat and Porzingis have very similar games. The difference was Minnesota had Gobert on the floor, so you'd have Lively and Gafford guard him, and really PJ Washington on Towns. Now the 5 is going to have to be Gafford or Lively that's going to have to run around and guard Porzingis. So it may be a different guy guarding him than it was in that Minnesota series.
Porzingis' availability potentially changes everything, because when you look past the top two guys, my question is can Dallas's 3, 4, 5, and even 6 keep up with Boston's? Because then you're looking at, and I'm not talking about defensively, offensively, now you're looking at PJ Washington, Derek Jones, Daniel Gafford, and Derek Lively potentially having to keep up with Derek White, Drew Holiday, Kristaps Porzingis, and then throw in who you want, whether it's Horford or Pritchard or whoever you want for Boston at that point. And that's where I think Boston just has the edge.
Yeah, that's definitely where the Boston strength is. To me, if Dallas wants a chance to win this series, Luke and Kyrie have to get to 65 a game. Is that a fair number?
No, I think more.
You think more?
I think more. I mean, look, I'm the same guy that demanded 35, 40 out of Joel Embiid for a series. This is the NBA Finals. If Luka wants to cement his status as one of the best in the world, if not the best in the world, I'm looking at 35 minimum for him a night. I'm
That's
looking
why
at
I was thinking 35 and 30. Like I don't see.
I'm looking at him hitting 40, 45 to potentially carry this team to a 4 wins. That's going to be tough.
Those two guys have to outplay Tatum and Brown. There's no question. That's the path to Dallas winning, I would think. Chris, you agree?
Yeah. I think, and also, I mean, Boston's. Al, you just said it too, that they got the Horford factor as well as far as depth with defensively. That's another person that Dallas is going to have to worry about. When they on drives to the paint, things like that. But also, I mean, he's another floor stretcher. I highly doubt that they'll have. I would doubt. I don't know. I don't think that in this matchup they'll have a lot of Horford and Porzingis like together on the court, but we'll see. I mean, they might throw all kind of, it's the NBA Finals. You got to throw the kitchen sink out to everybody. So we'll see what they try to run out there. But it's going to be a good series. On the surface, it seems like Dallas, Boston, whatever. But when you really dissect it, a casual fan might not really care that much about the series. But if you're an NBA hoop head, like this is a good matchup. You got a lot of stars out here. I see a 50 burger on TD's floor by Luka. I think he's going to drop a 50 on one of the games. He's going to be officially Luka legend. He's going to point to Larry Bird somewhere. He's going to be like, I'm the legend now. Forget Larry legend. It's Luka legend.
I'm the captain now.
Exactly.
I hate to put Boston in this air, but I think, do you get a little bit of like 2011 Dallas Miami vibes from this series where you have that Miami team that was Bron, Wade, Bosh, they were deep. And then you had the Dallas team that was kind of like Nowitzki, Jason Terry, and then a bunch of guys who were going to go out there and defend. Like I kind of get vibes from that series. And again, you had that was the LeBron who didn't have a title at that point. So he was trying to get over the hump, kind of similar to the way Boston was. Obviously, Wade had one at that point. But I get a little bit of that vibe that, it would take a Nowitzki-esque run, but I'm not saying it's out of the picture at this point.
Go ahead, Al.
I don't know what the playoff paths were that year, but I think the other thing is that, I mentioned how easy Boston – Dallas, man, they really had to get through it. They beat some of the best players in the world en route to these finals. And I brought that up because I was going to say the coaching to me. Does Jason Kidd have an edge on Missoula?
My boy Jay Kidd.
That is your boy.
So. I think so.
I would say so. And Jason Kidd's a guy who was much maligned early in his coaching career and got a lot of heat.
Another chip on his shoulder guy. Yep.
He's calmed it down though. As a Jason Kidd hater, he's calmed it down a lot. I respect him.
Yeah, big time Jason Kidd.
Yeah, I don't want to get into it. I don't want to get canceled, dude.
All right, let's get to predictions on the series. Chris, we'll save you for the end because I think you may have something different. But Al, what do you got?
I got Boston in 6. I just think it's a steamroller, man. I think Boston is just too good. They're just too good on both sides of the ball. They're what I think they're top 5 in both offensive and defensive efficiency, and they have been all season long. I really wish I could see this going another way, but I just don't. So Boston in 6.
Yeah, I'm with you. I have the Celtics in 6. I'll be rooting for Dallas, obviously, as a Sixers fan. To me, again, the difference is kind of what you said, Alex. These games when Tatum and Brown don't have it, they've got guys like Derek White who can go get 25. They've got Drew Holiday who can go get 20 and play good defense. They'll have Porzingis who are in some sort of limited capacity who can go get buckets. And I just don't trust the Dallas guys in the finals to do that outside of Luka and Kyrie, who are going to have to do it for 7 games, 6 games, 5 games, however, every single night they need to score, again, 65 to 70 points. And in the event that they have an off game, they're going to lose. It's kind of basically the way I see it. So I'll take Boston in 6, but I'll be pulling hard for the Mavs.
Yeah. I mean, you better have someone, if you're Boston, that can shut Luka up because, like I said, he's been on a tear in these places throughout these playoffs, and I think that we always talk about how it'd be awesome if everything was like wrestling, right? So we go to Game 7 in Boston, and Luka's got the ball down a point, and he's double teamed, and he dishes it over to the corner to Kyrie, a la Jordan to Paxson in '93. And Kyrie just nails a 3 at the buzzer to just sink Boston and take their heart, their soul. Sprays the sage during the trophy ceremony. as he lifts to Larry O'Brien and the MVP.
That'd be so sick.
Dallas in 7.
Dallas in 7.
Wow.
Chris, the one last point I want to make to you in something you mentioned there is, if you remember when Boston was in the finals 2 years ago against Golden State, they won game 1. And then in game 2, Draymond Green basically came out and started throwing guys around and basically alphaed the shit out of those guys. Luka has that same, not the dirty play and physicality,
Right.
but he's got the personality to be the alpha in the series. And the question is whether or not Tatum and Brown learn from that and have matured and can handle that if that ends up coming to fruition.
And that's exactly what I was saying when I was saying someone's got to be prepared for Boston to shut Luka up, because not just on the court from their play, but literally shut him up, because otherwise they're going to, like, I question the same thing, Seltzer. I question that mentality of those guys. If they get into a back and forth with a superstar like Luka and he's giving it to them on their court, what are they going to do? How are they going to respond? Are they going to play hot potato and try to pass to each other because they don't want the smoke? Or are they going to get right back in his face, take him to the rack, and stare him down on the way down to the other end of the court? That's what's got to happen. And if they can do that, that's why they miss Marcus Smart, man. They miss that toughness. And I think that if they lose this series, I'll be the first person to say that's a huge reason why. Because when it comes to that part, that dog, that toughness, that gritty in the mud dude that's going to get back at a guy like Luka, they don't really have that right now.
You don't think that Drew Holiday, though, gives them more because he gives just as much defensively and he gives the experience of winning a title?
He's too nice.
But
So
on the floor, he's a better basketball player than Marcus Smart.
Right. You just want an asshole out there.
Yeah.
Like Max Kellerman said, I love the quote. I say all the time. It's gangster to win an NBA title. You need dogs. And I think that Drew's too nice. Now, I'm not saying he can't win. Obviously, they're in a great position. They could still win the whole thing, whatever. But a guy like I would rather take a guy like Marcus Smart in this series than Drew Holiday.
In this series. Not as a I agree with you.
I don't agree with that.
All right, it's time to jump into segment 3. Our predictions are out there as the finals will start on Thursday. But there's something we forgot to do, Chris. We forgot to dedicate the episode. This is the last dedication that we're going to have, episode 100. Do you know who we're going with here for 00?
Big Face Hunt it.
Yeah, you know who we're going with?
For 00? Spencer Hawes?
Spencer Hawes, baby.
Oh.
We're the Chief Robert Parrish.
The Chief. Well, that's such a funny nickname. Why is that so funny to me? I don't like when you call someone the Chief.
I was shocked that you got Spencer Hawes right off the bat. That's a great.
Yeah, I mean, how many 00s are there that were from Philly sports? I mean,
Not a lot. There was a famous Twitter interaction between Spencer Hawes and former guest of the pod, Liam Devone. Spencer tweeted something like, rank these words from most wet to least wet. It was like moist, damp, and something else. And Liam put, doesn't matter. None of them are an adjective for your jump shot. And Spencer wrote back, that was a nice one. You got me there.
All right. Takes his lumps like a man.
Respect.
Seltzer, I want to notice Jeff Seltzer still hate guys that wear the 0. I remember he hated that.
No, I'm a big anti-00 guy. I think if you wear,
didn't he hate 0 because he said it was like saying like you're a nothing, you're a nobody? Like
I don't think that was Jeff.
I don't know, man.
Ask him.
We gotta get him on the line. Get him in here.
I don't like it either, to be honest with you. I mean, I know we have like Maxi right now for us that has it and stuff, but there's 99 numbers. Pick a number.
I didn't like it. I did like Gilbert Arenas though, because he made it a nickname.
He turned it into a cool thing. Yeah,
he made it a brand. Yeah,
right.
I think 00, you're a little whacked if you're picking 00. What is 00?
It's so weird they even let dudes do that.
Yeah,
that's literally like create a player status.
Yeah, agreed.
That's strange,
especially in the NFL now when they could pick those single-digit numbers. And we've had like Swift was 0, wasn't he?
Who?
Yeah. Wasn't DeAndre Swift 0?
Yeah,
yeah. That's that in football, especially. That's really strange.
Aaron Gordon dons the 00.
Yes, he does.
And apparently Benoit Benjamin did.
Oh, Benoit, big Benoit. He was a Sixer at one point, I think, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think so.
God, Benoit Benjamin. Jeez.
I-
We have an episode where we just talk about this 90s. Actually, Al, maybe we do that. 90s NBA 15th man versus WWE jobbers.
Well, oh boy. All right.
We might have to lace up for that.
Put it in the
I got-
chamber.
I might have a couple more on this list of double zeros here. I remember Kevin Duckworth,
Yeah,
I
no,
remember
Duckworth was
Kevin
an all-star.
Tony Delk.
Yeah,
Tony Delk, a Kentucky guy.
50-point scorer, Tony Delk.
Yep.
Here's
Yeah.
a Kansas guy for you, Darrell Arthur.
Yep.
Yeah, man,
Good
that
player
was-
in college.
Yeah, he's stunk in the.
He was
in
a
the
bust.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, segment 3 tonight, boys. One of our most popular segments from an earlier episode was our 90s music draft.
It might have been the 50th episode. It might have been half the episodes ago.
I
that
think
we
it was
did
like in the 30s, to be honest with
that.
you.
we were trying to
Was
save
that
this.
long ago?
I think it was probably like the end of 22 is where I would guess we probably did it.
Really?
Maybe
It was
beginning of 23.
long time ago. It was an early episode.
Yeah.
And we've been holding off for some time, but tonight's the night we're going to get into our 2000s music draft. So again, just to kind of go through what exactly we're going not the best songs or our favorite song. We're going to the songs that best represent the 2000s in music. So we're going 2000 to 2009. Primarily for those of you listening, if you're our age, that's your college years, your high school years that you've gone through. We're going to try and put the music in with the audio podcast tomorrow. I'm going to do a little bit of a longer edit to make sure we include that. But I don't know about you guys. When I did my research, this was a lot harder than the 90s for me because not because of the quality of songs, but the 90s to me, it's like boy band. There's a boy band era. There's a grunge era in the beginning of the 90s. The middle of the 90s has a kind of a unique sound to it as well. The 2000s to me I don't know if they has that unique sound that I hear a song and I'm like 2000s, the same way the 90s does.
You mean as far as like the set, like the technical sounds of the music? You're
Correct.
saying?
Like the 80s would be even stronger than the 90s.
Yes. Yeah, I do agree with that. Yeah. But as far as hits go,
Yes.
the 2000s, this draft, there's a LeBron, there's a Chris Bosh, there's a Dwayne Wade, there's a Carmelo Anthony. Like the undrafted free agents in this draft are going to be, it's going to be a nice little pickings of cats for this draft.
And
They're
for-
going to be good
And for
draft.
for people our age in our mid to late 30s, as much as we love the 90s, we were still really young for half that decade. Whereas the 00s, we can put ourselves in a certain time and place for every one of these songs that we're about to name, which always helps with the nostalgic feeling of some of these songs. But Seltzer, I agree with you with the sound. You got to remember the 00s had the very unique introduction of ringtones.
True.
Where a lot of songs for like half that decade were made with ringtones in mind. And so it was songs that only had like a 20-second part to it that was meant to be catchy so we could play them on our phones.
True.
Yeah.
That's a great point.
And I will say also, pop quiz for you guys. What is the term for things between 2000 and 2009?
The aughts.
Yes, very good,
I
Al.
did not
Yes,
have that.
the aughts.
AUGHTS, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
we're gonna have an aughts draft here.
All right, one more, and then we'll get started. Here's a trivia question for you. I just talked about ringtones. What was the company's name that used to advertise incessantly with that stupid crazy frog? Ring ding 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 ding. That commercial was on every commercial break. Do you remember that?
Remember the commercial? I couldn't tell you who it was for.
Oh, but that was
It wasn't Nokia, was it?
No,
no
the company was Jamster.
Jamster.
Oh, yeah,
yeah, I knew it was
that's right.
something. I saw like hamster or something with it. I couldn't remember
Yep.
what it was. Wow,
Damn.
yeah, that was
Crazy frog, dude. It was on every commercial break.
the aughts.
All right. Well,
Not the
Chris,
arts,
I'm glad that
the
you
Boston
said,
accent, the aughts.
Chris, I'm glad you said there was a LeBron and a Wade because I'm not sure who the LeBron is, and I did the random draft order, and the order is going to be you, Al, and then me in this draft.
I'm definitely getting Jordan. Guest is going to screw this up. I already know. Getting Jordan.
No.
You know what I'm going to take. So go.
I
ahead.
know. I told Sarah who you're going to take first, and I was like, because we were debating on where to put that in my depth chart, so to speak, and I still have it high, but I was like, Al's picking this with his first pick. If he has number one, he's still going to pick it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just for the record, before I forget, I told my wife we were doing this, and her first song was JoJo Get Out. So I don't know if that's on your list.
listen.
I'm going to say it wasn't.
It's a good thing we
Now-
didn't have the wives on tonight.
I feel comfortable dropping that out there to you guys.
Now I will say to tell Megan that's actually I love that song, but I wouldn't put it on this.
Yes.
There's too many dogs to eat in this trash.
That's
That's a puppy dog in this trash.
That's a rough pick.
But that is a good song, though. I like that song. And JoJo's an underrated artist. She
no,
didn't get
even if we did like solo female artists, I'm sorry, Megan. I can't have your back on that one.
I gave her a look.
I might be team Megan on that. I mean, well, I don't know, depending on but not for, like I said, there's a lot of dogs in this draft. And we're gonna start. You told me I had the number one pick, so I'll say, if you said to me I only had one shot or one opportunity, would I let it slip? No, I'm taking "Lose Yourself,"
Good pick.
which was the Purple Rain of the aughts.
I don't hate that at all. I think there was a point in time where that was undeniably the number one rap song and maybe even the number one song of the decade.
It won an Oscar.
I know. I got no hate for that, dude.
Mom spaghetti. Are you tracking?
Yeah, actually, if you guys give me a second, guess if you talk a little bit more about Eminem, I'm putting up.
I could definitely do that.
the
So that movie, again, when I said the Purple Rain, so for the folks, our parents and aunts and uncles and stuff like that were around in the 80s, Purple Rain was everything. Purple Rain was a huge deal. Prince was a huge deal. Having a mega music star in a film, do the soundtrack, the whole thing, also got high acclamation for, I believe, for Oscar recognition as well. And Eminem was the first person to bring that back really since then. 20 something year, I guess it would have been 84 was Purple Rain, I believe. So 8 Mile was 02, so that was 18 years later. And really, you could argue that it hasn't been done. Actually, you can't argue. It hasn't been done since. And we don't know when the next time it'll be done to have something like that happen. That was a huge deal. Not only the song, but the movie. And they both complement each other so perfectly. And if we had a draft for the best movies of the aughts or most impactful movies, 8 Mile would be high on that list.
Yeah, I don't disagree with anything you said. I remember when VH1, remember when they started coming out with the top 100 songs of each decade? And they did that in the OOs. And I remember as the OOs were going on, I couldn't wait for them to end so we could hear who the top 100 would be in their opinion, and the number one would be, because I thought "Lose Yourself" was the clear number one song of that decade for much of my 20s. I thought.
Yeah.
So that's what you would take that number one?
I would.
I'm asking you.
No, absolutely not.
Okay, so let's hear what you
wait
have.
a minute now. So wait, when you say absolutely not, then that throws me for a loop here. So
is this the song you thought I was going to take?
No. But I'm saying though, like, I don't think, like you say absolutely not is like that definitely shouldn't be a first round pick.
No, it should be.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what
it's a fine pick at 1-1.
No issues with it being 1-1. With it being 1-1, I would have probably taken it 1-2.
Okay.
Now, Chris, do you?
Yes, it took us 100 episodes to agree on one of these drafts.
Well, me and you have agreed a lot more on things than Seltzer and I have agreed on. I will say that.
Well, Chris, one thing we can agree on is that Al waiting to take another Tupac song that may kill his draft.
Change his remix.
So what do you got at 1-2, Al?
At 1-2, this is the easiest pick. So especially in the last 10 years, this song has become the Journey, Don't Stop Believing, the Sweet Caroline, the Living on a Prayer of this era, of this decade of music for our generation. And it's very, very simple. It's a song that now I believe it's over 400 weeks in the UK top 100 charts. Over 400 weeks, nonstop. Mr. Brightside by The Killers is the best song of the decade and potentially, possibly, of our lifetimes, gentlemen.
That was so chalky. Yeah,
this song has transcended, like it's become something bigger than itself. It's bigger than a song anymore because it's become stadium rock. And once that happens, and it's a stadium song, and it's a wedding song, and it's a tailgate song, and it's a party song, and guess, I mean, it's just the exciting whites love it. You put this on,
yeah.
dude, it is an anthem. So
well,
me, This
Yeah,
pick was
and that's a great point. Now, like all those instances of life experiences when you can use that song, give that song like uber staying power.
100%. I hate Michigan, but them taking Mr. Brightside and making, I think it's their fourth quarter song, and the whole 110,000 seat stadium up in Ann Arbor, they all are singing along like that. Like that's a moment that, like, if you're there, like not many things are going to top that as far as what you said, like a life moment of just being surrounded by that.
And speaking of, real quick before Celtic goes, speaking of the stadium thing, so I was doing the hockey last night. I was watching a little bit of the Dallas Edmonton game. So Edmonton wins the game 2-1. They go to the Stanley Cup, and the song Edmonton plays. Have you guys seen this? So apparently that's a thing that Edmonton does.
I seen something in the Edmonton crowd, but it wasn't.
Oh,
that.
I saw
You
that.
know what I mean?
Oh, now see, I missed that.
Oh,
Where you been?
Dude, I missed that. But the song they play is La Bamba.
Oh yeah, la, 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 la. That's nice.
I was like, what is this? The 70s, 80s? But whatever. They're Canadian, so I guess they live by a different code.
that's like when the Flyers were playing Gloria for a while.
Yeah.
Wasn't that the Flyers? No, that was the
No,
Blues.
no,
Blues.
It was in the Philly
That they
bar
found
that started it,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Well, wait a minute. So what else happened in the game?
Where you at, dude?
Dude, I haven't been on social media. I haven't been on.
Do you have Twitter on your phone?
Yeah, on my phone. Yeah.
Google just right now. Search Oilers girl. That's all you have to search.
What is it? Dude, every year during the Stanley Cup playoffs, this happens.
Just Google it, and while I'm picking, and then you let me know what you think.
No, I'll check this
All right. So as I kind of went through the 2000s music, I thought it was very hip hop and rap based, or at least as far as the top players in here. And so I'm going to go with a song that was early in our high school years, but I'm going to go 50 Cent in the Club. Still a hit in right now. Come on, shorty. It's your birthday. We go, you'll still hear it when the beat drops. You know what it is. I got to go 50 Cent in the Club. My second pick's a lot harder.
Oh, wait, before you can't just jump past this.
Okay.
So that, for me, guest, tell me if you agree. I think that's clearly the number 2 rap song of that decade. I think it's not even. I think "Lose Yourself" and "In the Club" are the clear 1-2 of that decade as far as rap goes.
For rap,
yeah.
There's one that's, I don't know if you consider it solely rap, but as far as straight hip hop, yeah, I would agree with that. And that was Shady Records back to back.
Dude, unbelievable. Shady Aftermath. That 50 Cent record coming out, Get Rich or Die Trying, just it being an instant classic. I remember it dropped in the wintertime because I had to shovel myself out to get to school or some shit. I can't remember, but I was shoveling snow listening to Get Rich or Die Trying on repeat. And I was like, damn, every song is a banger. Like there was not one skip on that CD.
No, and it was the anticipation too, because if you remember, 50 was hot on the ground.
Wanksta came out, and How to Rob
mixtape. The what?
How to Rob when he everyone.
Yeah, that mixtape was dope. And then we were all waiting for when he got signed by Dr. Dre and this and that. And it was even better than anybody would have anticipated that album. Yeah, I would say that too. That was probably the second best.
Now, one more thing, guest. I don't think you're going to remember this, but once upon a time, you, myself, and the aforementioned from last week, Sean Quigley, we did our things on the microphone from time to time. But I don't know if
we had bars.
I don't know if you remember.
Man, we had bars.
We had all right. Listen, we refused. Do you remember that we made a pact we wouldn't rap on the In the Club beat because it was too nice and we couldn't do it enough justice. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Which, by the way, speaking of Double I should probably be in here somewhere. The grimy remix was a legendary song.
Did you see J. Cole just took the Wrigley line? He said something really similar.
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Quig said you gotta DM him on that. You gotta call him out. The grimy remix is making it all the way down to Vietnam to J. Cole.
Quig's the ghost.
All right,
there you go.
For my first pick in the second round, I'm going to stay in the hip hop. As I mentioned, I think it was really the genre that took off in the early 2000s, and I'm going to go Beyonce, "Crazy in Love" at 2-1 here. Obviously, Beyonce is probably the top female artist of the decade. So I think you got to end up with one of her songs. There's probably a couple that you could choose from. I wouldn't be surprised to see another one get picked. But I'll get Jay-Z as well in there with Crazy in Love. Probably 2003, 2004, I'd guess.
Yeah, right around there. Yep.
Yeah, so give me
this was actually when VH1 released their list. This was their pick for number 1, and I remember being extremely disappointed. I did not think that this earned the top spot, the best song of the decade.
I don't love the song, but I think it represents the 2000s well.
I'm even disappointed at that pick, to be honest with you, because
I don't. I mean, this
one that you could have picked that you skipped that would have been a better R&B hip hop collaboration.
Yeah, I might be showing my hand. I think there's a better Beyonce song, maybe even 2. But one thing I will say is Jay-Z, I don't know necessarily that he has, I don't know that he has a marquee song that belongs on this list.
I agree. I couldn't find one.
I think there's
Empire
one.
State of Mind.
No spoilers, man. Don't be.
We're not
Ace to the Izzo. What are we talking about?
We're not in New York.
You think that's in the top 15?
No, I'm just saying. I might not put that, but it's debatable that somebody would put that.
No,
either one of those.
Stop naming them. There is one though. There's one that I think that's above both of those.
Okay.
I'm gonna take here what I think is a safe pick as the number 3 hip hop / rap song of this decade. It's one of those party ringtone rap songs. I'm going with Lil Jon, Get Low.
Oh, you missed it too.
No way, dude.
You missed it too. Now that's a great song. I'm not, but
this song. When you talk about a song that embodies the OOs, this is it.
Yeah.
This was every frat party, every college party.
No.
And I'm sure if the listeners that might have been in high school, I'm sure it was every high school party, every grade school dance. I'm sure this song this song set off that whole Southern Lil Jon type rap, Yin Yang Twins, all that for the next, how long? 10 years? Soulja Boy Tell 'Em, that kind of stuff. Yes,
yeah, not my favorite song, but if based on what we're determining as draft status, it's a good pick because, I mean, it is college for us.
Yeah, I'm surprised that you don't think this is up there.
You were in the right church, wrong pew.
Well, then you're taking the next one. You got to
go. Yeah.
That's
yeah.
That's right
still
under.
Played at weddings and parties and graduations and stadiums and.
Is that what you're taking?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean that it's as simple as someone that has made and makes beats and stuff. Like it's such a simple concept to the beat, but it still was it knocked so hard, and it still does. It's a timeless song. Like there's kids at school, I'm sure that's a big tell for me as far as a legendary status. If my students know these songs, then they're on. They made it. Like they're legendary song. Like because this generation don't give a damn about nothing past 2015. So if they still know it, it's over. You know what I mean? And these guys, they still sing this song.
I would argue for me, Get Low's I probably let a little bit more of my personal taste get in there because when I hear the beginning, when I hear the dum dum dum, and you just you know what I mean? But no,
doesn't Andy do that too though?
Not
Andy do that too?
For me, yeah, it was always a little bit cornier. Like I couldn't get into it as much as Get Low.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, Lil Jon is for the G's.
I think this is, and we talk compared to the '90s draft. I think we have 6 songs that would be hard to argue right now.
Yeah, no, it's a good start. So it goes back around to me, right?
So now where are we going? Because I think now things open up a little bit.
It definitely opens up.
So this song, I was telling Sarah about it, and she was like, she agreed, but she thought I might have had it high. So we'll see what you guys think. But for me, this was the clear number 2 pick in this draft.
Oh, that you're taking third in your.
Well, because I wanted to follow because I was getting back to back. I wanted to go after the Get Low, but Seven Nation Army.
Yeah, good pick, great pick.
Seven Nation Army is every. I was about Michigan. Everybody sings Seven Nation Army at their games.
That. I was hoping it fell back to me. I was taking it next.
Me too. I thought it was going to fall.
I thought that was the clear number 2 overall pick.
Wow.
I was surprised. Now, Al, I get it. That's you're like Daryl Morey with James Harden. with the Killers. Like that was your guy the whole time. But I thought Seven Nation Army was a clear. I thought Lose Yourself and Seven Nation Army was a clear 1 and 2 in this draft.
Yes, I
am ecstatic getting those two on my team.
It was more like Dick and Ricky Williams. I was prepared to trade my whole draft for that number 1 pick if you even had a hint of taking Mr. Brightside. Dude, Seven Nation Army is off the chain. Another one that I have no issue with. And you're right. That could have been a first-round pick. The 2000s are electric, dude.
Yeah, I'm telling. I would have said, as being born in '85 and growing up in the late '80s for like early childhood and '90s for our regular childhood, that the '90s would have definitely been better. And then I started thinking, and I got like 30 songs on this list, and I went through 20 before I even looked any other ones up. And I was like, yo, this list is pretty. This is heavy.
It's really heavy. It's really like, I think the 90s, I know it's my opinion, but I think Smells Like Teen Spirit is such an obvious top 90s song. But I think the O-O's has like 10 of those. And if someone said to me, this was the top song of the O-O's, I'd be like, I can't really argue that it's not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you clearly, I mean, any of these so far in a different scope of different people doing this could have had any of these as a number 1 pick.
Yeah, I think the quality of, again, this is kind of what we talked about in the beginning. The quality of the music in the 2000s is probably better. But again, you hear "Smell Like Teen Spirit" and it's 90s. Like you hear 90s net. I don't know if you hear 2000s with necessarily any of these, but the music is better.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
All right, Al, hit us with your 3rd round pick. That spun me around. I thought that was coming back to me, but evidently had to go through 2 hurdles.
I'm a little worried now because I have a few here. I have a safe list, and I have a few that I was like, you know what, I'm going to be able to wait forever to get these. And you know what, the Seltzer might take them in the next 2 rounds, but I'm going to go with what I feel is the safest pick of the songs that I have left on my list, and I'm going to take Outkast, Hey Ya.
Yeah,
I mean,
not even their best song.
It's
not, but it's their biggest song.
Correct. That was the one I would have taken too.
It was their TRL number 1 hit. It was their put them into the mainstream hit because they were always more of a niche group when it comes to their music. But I mean, Shake It Like a Polaroid Picture. Guess you talk about something that like people still say, like that's still something that's in the lexicon. I feel like. Yeah. So I mean, it's not my favorite Outkast song. Probably not even in my top 5.
No, I agree.
Songs. But it's the one that if you're opening up a 2000s mixtape that's been buried underground for 100 years, it's the one that has to be on there.
Also, shout out to Andre 3000 for being at the Roots picnic here this weekend.
That's this weekend.
It was this past weekend. It just happened yesterday and Saturday.
Oh, I missed it.
Yeah, he was here. Dude, you gotta look at that list. Man, that list was like, I mean, it cost like for 2 days. You could have went to both days for like 3 something, but it might have been worth it.
Megan was actually reading me the I think Nas was there, wasn't Nas there?
Nas was there, yep. Cameron was there, Weezy was there.
Lil Wayne, yeah.
Weezy did his set with the Roots. So the Roots did Weezy's music.
Oh
yeah.
I'm a big fan of that.
Yeah. So like it was a pretty
Kill Cam was there.
Cam was there, yep.
Wallow and Gilly, Wale, Babyface. That you're a big Babyface guy, I guess. Big Babyface guy.
Yeah, that's my dude. I met Babyface. Yeah.
Big Changing Faces too. Do you mind if I?
He was.
I don't mind.
He was Changing Faces was a Babyface group. They were under LaFace Records.
It had to be. Oh, all right. Yeah, that's a lineup. I remember seeing the lineup when it came out, and I thought, oh man, Meth and Red were there too.
Method Man and Redman were there. Yep. Yeah, it was loaded.
That they're a duo that's not going to make my list here, but they were one of my favorites in the 2000s as well.
Good duo.
The Rockwaller was.
Oh wow, that's a top 3 maybe for me.
That beat is still ridiculous.
Oh, you know what? That might make my list here today. Let's go 10 rounds.
All right. I'm going to change the theme up a little bit. Again, we talked about the hip hop phase. I'm going to go towards the end of the decade for this one. Just an absolute banger. And you know it's a banger when you kind of like you hear it on the radio for the first time. You're like, this is a corny song, but you go to a wedding and you get a little booze in people and everybody's singing it at the same time. I'm going Party in the USA, Miley Cyrus, 2009. Just A song that
Yes.
gets the people going, even if they don't want to admit it.
Yeah, so I will say I think it's a little early, but that's a good pick to have in this draft. I actually forgot about the song, and then but it came on to what I was talking about earlier. It came on. I play music before my first period with the kids that are in there, and this came on the radio the one day on my station, and again, they all knew it. They loved it.
Yeah.
In fact, they probably loved it as much as people when it came out loved it. So it's a new generation now that have picked up this song. So to your point, maybe I wouldn't have had it that high, but maybe I'm wrong.
No, it still has staying power. I personally also don't think I'd have it because I have some other songs that I don't know. It is opinion. I think they're above. I can't argue against this though. I can't argue against this being one of the top 15 songs of the decade.
Yeah.
Then I'm going to go back to the hip hop train for my first pick in round 4, and I'm going to go Gold Digger.
Great one.
I'm going to go Gold Digger.
Now, this is what I wasn't sure about. I wasn't sure about Kanye because Kanye is probably my favorite rapper of all time, and I didn't know which Kanye song would be placed here.
I think not only is it, I think probably his biggest hit, but I think is the one that most encapsulates the 2000s. Not my favorite, but I think when you hear that song, you think college.
I don't even know if it was bigger than Stronger though.
Well, that's what I was thinking of. I would think about that, or even Through the Wire. But I definitely think Gold Digger. I agree with you, Seltzer. I think that would probably be the one I would go with first out of those. But yeah, you had to have Ye on this list. I don't care. I know he's got his own issues, with being nuts or whatever. But I don't even. Well, that's another conversation. But he's got to be on this list.
Like Al, if you're at a wedding, your crazy white uncle knows the words to Gold Digger. He doesn't know the words to Stronger.
You might be right about that.
Yeah.
I definitely.
I mean, Stronger's not even getting played at a wedding. Gold Digger would get played.
Look, I love that Kanye made it. I just personally wasn't sure. I had the same conundrum with Kanye as I do with Jay-Z. I wasn't sure which from his catalog from that particular decade would make it.
Fair. That's fair. There's a lot of hits.
All right. Man.
Still plenty of good players out there.
There's a lot.
Plenty of guys that run a sub 4.40 are on this list. Are still available.
We might have to have some bonus rounds. This is a short pod right now. We might have to go bonus rounds.
We
might need a ruling on that.
All right, I'm in for bonus rounds. But we got to pick up the pace a little bit.
All right, if we're gonna go bonus rounds, that might change. It's gonna change my strategy up as you just.
We'll go 6. We'll go 6. We'll go 6 rounds.
All right, as you just said to pick up the pace here. I gotta figure out what I want to do now because I got to get in the guest's head. I got to know where guest is going next.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm gonna go with the song that I think Seltzer should have taken with his Beyonce pick, and I'm gonna go with "Single Ladies."
Yeah, that's the other Beyonce song I had on there.
I think "Single Ladies" a lot because of the video too, and because of all the history around the video and the controversy with Kanye and Taylor Swift and not winning the VMA. That kind of helped out. But that dance, everybody knows that dance, and just all the single ladies. If that's another, again, talk about a wedding song, a party song. Yeah, I have that slightly above Crazy in Love, but I think at one point it was probably Crazy in Love was above Single Ladies.
Pick your poison. Those were the 2 Beyonce songs.
I have no problem.
You could also. Well, I don't want to say anything in case we have stuff that plays out later on, but I think there's another Beyonce song you could probably put on here.
Well, I know what one you're talking about. I mean, you might as well. You don't have to take it now because neither of us are going to double up on B.
I would think you could say Halo could be on there.
Oh, yeah, I guess
Halo was big for a long time.
Okay, I thought you were going to say Irreplaceable.
Well, I was going to say you must not know about me.
All right, quick aside, guess who do you got? Just songs alone, and Seltzer, you too. Just songs alone. Beyonce or Rihanna?
Oh, Rihanna.
Rihanna.
I'm team Rihanna.
Rihanna's got bangers, dude.
I'm team Rihanna. Has nothing but hits.
Yeah, Rihanna's catalog is extremely underrated. Like
so people forget about it.
Yeah. Forget about it. When she performed in the Super Bowl, it was hit.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna go with a song that is all right, but it's I'm a man of the people. All right. And so I know that there's a lot of people out there that would want this, I believe, on this draft based on the statistics of what this song did. So I'm gonna go Black Eyed Peas. I Got a Feeling.
Oh man, yes, that's the second song on my list.
Yeah, I'm gonna take I Got a Feeling. Again, I'm lukewarm on it. If it came on somewhere, I'd be like, oh yeah, I'm all right, cool. But I'm not gonna request it. But this song is always still on like movie trailers and commercials and all kind of stuff. So, and I think if I remember correctly, I think it was like if not the highest selling single, it was like top 5 selling singles in the aughts. So I'm gonna take it here. I'm gonna put it on my
Absolutely fits the criteria of what we're doing here. Again, not a favorite of mine, but that sounds like the 2000s when you hear that song.
I have a soft spot for that song. It reminds me of college. Just reminds me of like pre-gaming. I think it actually the song. It's a disservice when it gets played on the radio, or usually when people play it, they usually play the radio edit where the beginning isn't all drawn out, but the album version, that beginning instrumental part gets really drawn out and it builds it up as a song so much better.
Yeah,
that I think that version is way better than the shortened version. But
dude,
I mean that I don't know, it's not the chorus, but just the Lahaim.
Yeah, the whole thing. Yeah, it's just fun and catchy. That album, I think it was on Elefunk, if I remember correctly. That album.
wasn't it on the END?
I have to double check it. It might have been. I'm not sure. I forget. But they also had. I mean, My Humps is one of the worst songs ever made. If you like, it was popular, but if you ever listen to just like dissect that song, it is awfully poor written. The beat's not even it's just a mess, and it somehow became a smash single.
What do you call it? Would have been. I'm sorry if I was looking at my cheat sheet here. If you guys said, "Let's Get It Started," it's the other one.
That's another one that you could have.
Although you can't politically correct the unedited version at this point.
I hated when they made it politically correct.
Yeah.
Hey, guess, did you Google Oilers Girl yet or what?
I saw it. Yeah,
Okay,
I mean, I've seen it.
I got a feeling
I never seen before, but I mean,
I got a feeling did win a Grammy.
Yeah, it was a big hit when what was that? 07?
09.
09?
Yeah, cutting it close.
And then now I'm in a conundrum here. I'm in a pickle because I can go like 6 different options right here.
Oh yeah, it's got to narrow it down now. You got to go with the big guns now.
And I'm trying to. There's a part of me that wants to go out the box and pick a different, give some love to other genres. But I'm going to stay. You know what? I'm going to go with my heart, which can always get you in trouble in these spots. But I'm going to go with my heart. I'm a big fan of these people. I've seen them in concert, probably the best concert I've ever been to. And I'm going to go with Clocks by Coldplay.
Oh, boo!
Now, if you remember when this song came out, which, by the way, don't hate on Coldplay, all right? Because Coldplay, if you look back on the aughts, they had a lot of hit records. You could have went to Scientist, you could have went Viva La Vida, you could have went a lot of different places. But Clocks won the Grammy at that point, and if you remember, it was a big deal because it beat Jay-Z. And everybody thought, I think it was H to the Izzo that year, was going to win the record of the year. And Coldplay won out of nowhere with Clocks.
Yep.
Clocks still rings. See what I did there? It's
guess that's the first pick you made that I just don't love.
And that's why I said I'm going my heart, because I know it's polarizing. Some people might love it, some people might hate it, but I'm gonna stay true to myself. So I'm gonna go with Clocks Coldplay.
Yeah, I've never liked I've never been in a Coldplay.
Oh man, they are my killers for you. The Coldplay is like the killers for me.
Whoa.
I like the Coldplays, the singles. I think there's a lot of better picks out there still. But hey,
I said it was a lot. It was a lot going on in my head.
All right, Al.
Yeah. All right. So you didn't take. I think you left a couple on the table here.
For sure.
And I'm definitely also between taking one that I just want to take for personal preference, or do I want to just take the objective best song left? And I think I'm going to just take the one that it has to get taken. It just snuck in the decade. It was January of 2000. It's In Sync by Bye Bye.
Yeah, that was on my group that I was looking at.
Yeah, that's the biggest and last best boy band song possibly made.
But like, yeah, it's a great song, but I know it came out in 2000. That song sounds 1990s because it's the boy
So
band.
because you've already said that you're a sound guy, and Max Martin did a lot of these songs for NSYNC and Britney and Backstreet Boys, and it has that same like electric poppy kind of sound. But I mean, by the book, it was in the aughts, and again, people still know the song. Kids still know the song now.
Yeah,
I have no problem with it in here.
If my strategy here is to take what I think were the biggest songs of that decade, I have to include it. Like, it can't be excluded. I don't argue with what you're saying, Seltzer. It's probably more of like a song that fits in from 96 to 00.
Right.
Not necessarily 00 to 03 or you know what I mean. So I don't disagree with your logic there. But I had to pick it. It was the top song left on my list. And again, like I said, I think it was probably the best boy band song that came out in that entire generation of boy bands.
Also, I will say, I don't think it was the last great one, though. I think Girlfriend came after that.
They had a whole album after that with a lot of great songs on it.
Oh,
yeah. Celebrity was that album.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, Girlfriend with the Neptunes, and
that was that's when you started to see, like, all right, Timberlake's gone.
Justin's he's
gonna move on, and Pharrell knows it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was definitely a purge.
Yeah.
All right, Seltzer, what do you got?
This is me going out on a limb here. I don't know how the response is going to be.
This should be the heart round. This should be the bonus heart round.
No, because I did that with changes, and I've been getting clowned for it for 70 plus episodes.
Yeah, but you guys didn't go. This round hasn't been that strong with Coldplay and NSYNC. So,
all right, go ahead. What do you got?
A safe place to put. I'm going to change up my genre a little bit, and a band that has kind of hung around forever, come out with a ton of hits, but I think this is still their number one. I'm going to go Train, Drops of Jupiter.
Oh my God. Jesus.
Listen, I like that song.
All right, go to the 6th round.
You don't like Train?
No. I'm out. That song was good. I wouldn't say that that's one of the 15 best, like, biggest.
That song makes you want to jump off of a cliff.
Yeah, I'm out with Train.
Tune, man.
I'm out.
Such a buzzkill. I can't stand.
Listen, maybe a bust pick there, but I'm sure the people.
You know what? So I thought a song you were going to pick on this list was going to be "Beautiful" by James Blunt. I had you penciled in as having that on your list.
You're out of your
mind.
This
might be even worse.
Nah.
We'll let you sub this out for JoJo if you want.
No, I'm keeping Drops of Jupiter. I stand by Train. I'm going to close it out with, we mentioned Rihanna earlier, and nobody has picked any of her songs, so I'm going to put her on my list. I'm going to go Umbrella to close it out.
Yeah, that's the third song I have left. That song was awesome.
Yeah.
And you know who was originally slated to sing that, and they turned it down? Guess, do you know this? Do you know who wrote that song, first of all, and who it was first given to, who turned it down?
So The Dream wrote it.
The Dream wrote it. Did you ever hear the version of him singing it? It's pretty good.
Yeah. No, The Dream. I love The Dream. I'm a big Dream fan. I don't know I don't know if I know that.
It's Britney Spears.
Really?
I vaguely. I don't think I did know that. No, that's good knowledge. Did you ever hear the? I heard the first time the other day, the Britney. What song was that? With Britney and Rihanna together, they made a remix.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Was it not SOS? It was the
Yeah, the song about rough sex. Oh my God. Yes, thank you. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it was awful. Britney ruined it.
I'm sure.
Dude, I was like, oh my God. First of all, where was I at? I didn't know this even happened. And
I know about that.
It was a train wreck. Like her part, obviously. Rihanna's was her normal stuff, but then they added Britney's verse. And I was like, that tells me that maybe she was like also maybe thought up to do this song, and they just put them together after like a mash afterwards as a remix. I don't know, but it was terrible. Terrible.
No, I think we're at the point, right? No one, I don't think Guest, you or me are going to take Rihanna for one of our last picks.
No.
Dude, please Don't Stop the Music, Umbrella, We Found Love, Love on the Brain, S&M, Only Girl, Take a Bow, Ponder Replay, SOS, Disturbia. She had so many good songs, dude.
Yeah. No doubt. She's turned into a legend.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to take a song here that I think we're all going to appreciate, and I think it definitely belongs in the top now. If we're doing 18, I think it also belonged in the top 15. To be honest, if I'm being honest, I'm going to go with Daft Punk, One More Time.
Mm.
You want to talk about just an amazing song that helped propel these guys to the next level, because they had a couple of good songs, and they had was it them, Guess, that made the song with Christopher Walken dancing around?
No, that was Fatboy Slim.
Ah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah,
Daft Punk had like Around the World.
Yeah, Around the World was a big one. Yeah,
that was a good song. But this one is the one I remember, that the cartoon aliens in the music video. This got a lot of play for just really only having about 10 words in the song.
I think it's brilliant that they go everywhere with helmets on. Like,
Yeah,
I think that's brilliant. Like, no one will ever know who they are.
Yep.
They don't care. They're fine with that.
Yeah.
Like, those helmets are their brand.
Yeah, I totally agree. I have a lot of respect for them being able to make music like that catches on. I mean, they made they're the sample for Stronger that we talked about earlier. I mean, they made a lot of great music.
Yeah, I believe that was a Bots team at one point also. But anyway, moving on.
That was like our version of like the WrestleMania song, or like the or Raw.
We could have a draft for top songs from Bots, PLMs as they call it, or PLEs now, premium live events.
Yeah, I was gonna say the theme song, the Diversa coming out to the Survivor theme.
That's an all-time great.
The South African Giant.
That's an all-time great in the back of the truck.
Move on.
All right, so I'm gonna give you my pick, but then I'm gonna go right into a question I have for another song to you guys. So I'm going to go. There's so many. It's a lot of pressure now being the last pick. I got to get this one in. I'm trying to figure out which one I want to get in there. I can't go with the one I would have picked because I just picked a heart pick with Clock. So I'm not going to follow that up. I'm going to go with Poker Face.
Okay.
And another song that, I mean, you talk about someone else that's got classics. I mean, her catalog has been built up too. I always said that Lady Gaga is like the our generation's Madonna.
I agree with that.
Yeah. I like Bad Romance over Poker Face.
Yeah, I agree with that too. I struggled with which Lady Gaga song would have been the one.
I think technically Poker Face was her biggest selling song of the 2000s, or the aughts. But as far as, I don't know, I think I might still go Poker Face, even with all that other stuff being said too, with just liking it the most. But Bad Romance is I mean, you can't go wrong with any. I mean, again, she's got so many classics too. I mean, even still, she's making classic songs. But the question I wanted to ask you guys is, there's one on this list that was originally, when I did my list of 20 off the bat, without checking anything as far as what other people thought or whatever, or getting some extra bullets for the arsenal, so to speak, in case you guys pick some. And this song was extremely high on my list. It was in my top 5. But my wife talked me out of it. It was "Are You Gonna Be My Girl" by Jet. And my logic was, first of all, it's catchy. It's always been catchy. It was relatively high selling. It won awards, things like that. But even more so, like, again, now what we talked about earlier, it's still played at high functioning events. It's still played on TV. It's still played for movies. It's still played for commercials. And I thought that was a clear top 5 as far as rounds, top 5 rounds pick.
I think you played a little too much Madden.
I don't hate it.
I forgot it was even on Madden.
No, I don't hate it because it was the theme song of Apple for like years.
Yes. Yeah, it was. That's right.
All the time.
Yeah, and they still play it on stuff. Yeah, it's one of those songs where, like, it feels like we've never been able to escape it ever since it came out. Yeah. It's like Seven Nation Army. Like, you can't, it's always somewhere.
Yeah, it's almost like the bittersweet symphony of the OOs.
Dude, now that's wait a minute. That was
That was 90s. But I'm just
That's what I
saying,
thought. Okay, I wanted
it's a song that like it was a one and done, one hit wonder. But like you can't escape it. It's a great way to describe that song.
Bittersweet Symphony is probably a top 3 favorite songs all time for me. I love that record. Always like it's like musically and just where you can put that song. Like that song is perfect because it's called Bittersweet Symphony, and you can also put it in any situation, just like its title. You can put it in a sad thing, you can put it in a funny thing, a happy thing, a hype thing, like anything you want. You could put that song in it and it would fit.
Yeah, that's a fantastic song.
Yeah,
there's a great story behind that song about them using it in Cruel Intentions. Did I ever tell it before?
Yeah.
I told it on the pod, or did I tell you?
I don't know, but I know you're talking about.
It was like the whole budget was like they would have had to have spent like 10% of the budget of the movie on that song. And so they had like a bunch of interns listen to like hundreds of other songs to try and fit it into that one scene at the end of the movie. And they listened to them and they're like, none of these work. And so they ended up just paying the money for that song. And then they were like, we're glad we did it. It's the only song that would have worked.
Dude, and that's that song, you talk about songs making movies and vice versa. That song at the end of that movie it's so perfect, man.
When you hear that song, you think Cruel Intentions.
It's so perfect. I actually think about when Seattle came out to it during the Super Bowl when they beat Denver. I always think about that. but yeah, I mean, Cruel Intent, like that ending with that song was perfect.
You know, Katie Holmes was supposed to be Reese Witherspoon in that movie.
I did know that actually.
It was the original, the original offer.
Katie Holmes, that's your girl. Speaking of your girl,
that is Paula Cole. We got to get her on this list. I don't want to wait. That was the 90s.
That's definitely 90s.
Yeah. And where the Cowboys song was the Paula Cole record.
Missed a lot. We obviously couldn't say all of them.
Yeah.
All right. I have a couple, so let me run down mine and then we'll do it quickly since we're running out of time. I have Smooth by Santana. I didn't know if that fit the genre. It was early 2000s.
That just got in.
Yeah. Thong Song by Cisco.
Also just got in.
I figured there had to be a Nelly song. I have Hot in Here, although I'm not a huge fan of it.
Sarah was talking about that earlier.
Bring Me to Life by Evanescence.
Oh,
same thing with that. Yeah.
You don't like that, Al?
I don't like that. I'm out.
You're not in on the punk rock. I have Frey Over My Head just because it was the theme song for Grays. Or no, the other song was the theme song for Grays.
That was
Cable Car or whatever.
Crank That by Soulja Boy.
That song ruined hip hop, by the way.
And then Ignition Remix by R. Kelly.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Who?
Ignition Remix.
Yeah, who sung it? Who?
Oh, come on, dude. Ryan Jelly.
Listen, I still have the R record in my car. All right. That's one of the best R&B albums ever. I still have it in my car. I don't tell anybody that, but I guess now I told everybody that.
I think the only ones I have written, I didn't have a lot of time to really go through, but the only ones I have written down that we didn't name are Without Me by Eminem, Stand by Eminem.
Stand's on my list.
That's a good one.
Jay-Z, the one song that I had pinpointed was 99 Problems.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were going to say I just want to love you. I thought you were going to say.
No, I thought 99 Problems was probably his biggest, most mainstream song of that decade.
You think that's more mainstream than Big Pimpin'?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. 100%. I think Big Pimpin's a little more niche.
Okay.
Yeah, I hate Big Pimpin'.
Yeah, I hate Big Pimpin'.
I hear that song, I turn it right off. Even when it was out, I hated it. Like, I skipped that when I listened to volume 3. I skipped that.
Oh no, stop, dude. The
I like Bun B's verse though.
Yeah, but dude, the last verse on that is an all-time verse.
Yeah.
I had Paper Planes by MIA. I thought that was a very good song. So I'm a huge MGMT mark, as you guys might call me. And so I had both Time to Pretend and Electric Feel on my list.
What about Kids? You didn't have Kids?
I don't think Kids can crack the top 15, but I think either one of Time to Pretend or Electric Feel can. Those songs, when they come out, I just leave them all, no matter where I'm at.
I had MGMT on my list originally, but there was just too much stuff pushing it down at the end of the day.
That was too personal. Like, I didn't think that a lot of people would have them in the top 15. I did Jesus Walks and Power for my Kanye songs along with Gold Digger.
Man,
yeah. And then I had B.O.B. as my other Outkast song. I had DMX Party Up. I had Country Grammar as my Nelly song. And then I had Where the Party At by Jagged Edge.
Yeah, Megan and I talked about that earlier.
And then one more I have personal more than anything is Welcome to the Black Parade by My Chemical Romance.
Good song. Good song.
MTV named that the song of the millennium when it came out. And it came out in like 2004.
Yeah, I was with you until that one, I think.
It's a guilty pleasure, guess. We all have them.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, yeah,
All right,
for
clocks. All right. All right. What's his
Lights
name? Chris?
go out and it can't be saved. All right. So I saw a bunch. I had Beautiful Day, U2. I had Oops, I Did It Again. I had the song I think one of you were talking about from Grays, Chasing Cars.
Guess I'll say I think Toxic would have been the Britney song.
Toxic is on. Yep, Toxic's on there. In the End, Linkin Park.
Oh, you loved that. You loved Linkin
Dude,
Park.
Linkin Park is all man. So they're coming back out. They're getting a female lead singer now.
Oh, please don't.
They're coming back with our boy Shinoda.
Please.
Shinoda had bars, bro.
We have Fort Minor. Are they coming back?
Where'd you go?
Then I went outside the box to the country, one of my favorite country songs, Before He Cheats.
Oh,
that's on my list.
Listen, I'm not gonna lie.
That song slaps.
I respect it.
Yeah, Carrie.
Yeah.
Fallen, Alicia Keys.
Yeah.
Drop It Like It's Hot.
Yeah, I thought about that.
And then I had Stan, Gold Digger, A Millie.
Yep. Yeah.
Which I thought was after 2010. It was 08.
Yeah.
So those are some that I was also thinking about, but only because Chasing Cars, because of how big it was from Grays, it literally made the song a legendary song, a classic song, and it gave Grays like 15 more years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That show's still on.
Yeah.
And it's funny when like the kids are trying to like, Mr. Guest, you ever watch Grey's Anatomy? I'm like, not for 20 years. And they're like, wait. I'm like, yeah, that's been on since I was a kid. Like, it's not new. That's the thing. These kids think that everything they watch is new. It's like that's been around since your mommy and daddy met.
That's General. It's General Hospital. It's One Life to Live.
Well, that's what it's become. Yeah. I don't know how people still watch it. Like, what else could they write? Like, it's different for like Family Guy or The Simpsons because it's mindless, like sitcom,
one
like cartoon. Yeah, but like Grey's, you got to follow the script and the storyline for it.
Yeah. I've never seen an episode of Grey's Anatomy.
I think I've seen like 2, and one was that episode because of how popular it was. I had to see it, and it was good. You know, it did its thing, but it wasn't enough for me to want to keep watching it.
Yeah. All right. Well, that'll put a bow on episode 100. I think we hit the nail on the head with this draft, guys. I think it was a great way to wrap up 100 episodes. Catering to all of our fan bases. Everybody loves music, and everybody can relate to this decade. So again, we want to thank you all for listening to us for 100 episodes. It's been our pleasure to provide you guys the entertainment. But until episode 101, we're going to drop that beat.